As for intelligent driving, Tesla is indeed a pioneer.
Oh, we deployed 9.4 gigawatts of energy deployments, energy storage. This is a big deal.
This is a growth company that is no longer growing, and real questions about where that growth is going to come from going forward.
At $840 billion, they just need to demonstrate that Tesla Energy could become a much bigger piece of the business.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market over 0.5%, currently sitting at 261.47. TSLA is on an incredible win streak. Can they make it 12 days in a row? For the week, Tesla stock is only up 5.5% or so. Nothing major, nothing like their monthly gains of over 55%. It would appear the stock is starting to lose a little bit of steam, but given that the year-to-date chart is up only 4.5%, there may be room yet to run.
Now, Tesla recently got approval to develop its full self-driving FSD here in the China market. Analysts I've spoken to in the United States say that's a game changer for Tesla. But would you say the technology here in ADAS and the other self-driving or driving assistance software in Leapmotor and other products is already advanced to the point where FSD's arrival in this market does not pose a significant threat, or does it pose a significant threat?
As for intelligent driving, Tesla is indeed a pioneer, but everyone is beginning to get closer. Many users in China may know what its functions are and how its performance is. But Chinese car companies may have 3 to 6 months to catch up and become homogeneous with it. Because in terms of overall investment and adaptability to China's road conditions, Chinese car companies have a better understanding of the needs of Chinese users and the needs of China's road conditions.
Something tells me that Tom Zhu is not going to be at such a disadvantage.
If the EU or other places in the world raise tariffs on EV and impose more restrictive measures, it may have impacts on the globalization of Chinese EVs. But if we look at it from a long-term perspective, this may not mean that it will hinder some progress in the world, whether it is carbon neutrality or the globalization of new energy vehicles. We think this general direction will not change, especially in China. Everyone has seen that in May, this has reached a level of 45 to 48%, and the market share has exceeded 52% in the past 2 weeks. So we think that in the future, the change in China will happen very fast, maybe even in about 3 years. The market of battery electric vehicles plus hybrid models will account for 90% of the total sales. It widens the gap between China and the world on the transition to EVs.
A little food for thought from the Leapmotor CEO. Not a major player in the Chinese market yet, but understands with or without tariffs, this transition to battery electric vehicles is inevitable. Tesla's not going to be able to do it all by themselves. Those that survive the decade, Chinese EV manufacturers included, will be the ones that find a way to reach profitability. Because if it don't make dollars, it can't make sense.
Tesla stock has been on a winning streak recently, but in terms of market share, according to some new information from Cox Automotive, not so much on a winning streak.
Well, a preliminary report came out that showed that Tesla's EV share in Q2 in the US below 50% for the first time ever, at 49.7%, I believe. Preliminary results here, they didn't say who exactly took share from them, but yeah, it's another sort of news peg that's not so positive for them. But also, it talked about how EV sales are growing in this country, and we're seeing other automakers, perhaps Ford, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Kia, they're growing their EV sales. So that's a good thing for the overall pie. But for Tesla, you just couldn't maintain that massive market domination.
I like
I didn't mean to do that.
That's why we have you. That's why we have you, Praz.
Look at Praz rolling a natural 20 on that charisma check. I like it. I like it, Praz. But look, this EV market share, that's the wrong metric. I mean, Tesla started off around 90% EV market share. Who gives a shit, right? How does Tesla compare to overall car sales is what I'm more concerned with. How much market share is the EV market taking away from the internal combustion engine? Remember, the mission is to accelerate the transition to a sustainable energy economy, not dominate the EV market. It is to consume the internal combustion engine market.
This also tells us why Tesla has been leaning into all of the other stuff that it's trying, the robotaxi, the AI, all of the other stuff. Because if it just was depending on being dominant, having market domination, if you will.
Man, her charisma check rolled a little flat there, no?
Then that wouldn't be enough for shareholders going forward.
Right. It's the other plays. It's like you said, the AI, robotics, and increasingly energy storage, which was noted in their a line in their Q2 delivery report. Oh, we deployed 9.4 gigawatts of energy deployments, energy storage. This is a big deal. Going to be writing about that later this week. It's just a high growth, high profit margin area of the business that many are seeing as maybe a catalyst for them beyond Q2.
Yeah, they knew people weren't really worried about their energy deployment, so they threw it on there just to give you an idea of what they're going to brag about in a couple of weeks. Many analysts believe Tesla is shifting gears to avoid the fundamentals of the car business. But in actuality, the AI, the robotics, all of this will help transition the Earth to a sustainable energy economy. This has always been a part of the plan for Tesla. If you thought TSLA's had an incredible couple of weeks, you ain't seen nothing yet. As the fundamentals of the car business continue to improve, there will be other compounding catalysts that send the stock even higher. Energy is but just one of those things. Next couple of years for Tesla is going to be quite exciting.
This is quite a run. Bill Gross, the founder of PIMCO, coming out and saying it's trading like a meme stock. What are you hearing? What are you reporting on? What is happening with this name in this market?
It's hard to disagree with Mr. Gross. I think you look at what has happened to the fundamentals that he alluded to. Goldman may sort of look at the inventory clearing that we saw in the second quarter as positive, maybe some stabilization in the margins for this company, but those margins have been moving dramatically lower over the last year and a half as the company has significantly cut prices, and we have not seen a sort of result of that being increases in deliveries. We've seen the company really over the last 7 quarters see very, very flat deliveries. So this is a growth company that is no longer growing, and real questions about where that growth is going to come from going forward if the company is unwilling to add to the lineup, which Elon Musk has given every indication that he doesn't want to expand the lineup, that he wants to continue to really leverage the Model 3 and the Model Y for the vast majority of this company's sales.
We've heard quite a bit of this talking point ever since TSLA started this run. The fundamentals haven't changed. They're down year over year when it comes to deliveries. This is a growth company that isn't growing. I suppose they chose to overlook the 9.5 gigawatt hours of energy deployment. Forget the fact that Tesla's trying to hammer out the new production process for its vehicles and is on the cusp of a breakthrough software technology that's going to enable all of their vehicles to drive themselves. It's this disconnect that is screaming opportunity.
Well, you know what the carrot is now. It's August, and it's the robo-taxi business. We're talking about pricing a company for growth that doesn't have any. Craig, can that story turn that growth story around?
I think there's real reason to be skeptical there, just on the basis of, we look back at the years of experience we've been through with, Musk talking about this and putting this on the drawing board. You go back to 2016 when he was really first talking about this idea of trying to make this a business of putting self-driving vehicles on the road, a shared fleet of them, Tesla, running that fleet, managing it as a sort of Uber competitor. And this was all something that, was on the drawing board way back in 2016. And, really executing that has proven extremely difficult. And you look at this sort of segment leader in Waymo, they are making really remarkable progress of late in making their service available, more to the public. But scaling that business has been a real slog, and they've really focused on particular markets, whereas Tesla has set a much higher bar for itself with wanting to do sort of general purpose autonomy. So how exactly they square that circle is really going to be something to watch on August 8th when Musk has scheduled this unveiling for.
I think you're very diplomatically sort of doing the collective head scratch that we all are in terms terms of why now, in terms of this rally that we're seeing in Tesla stock. This actually adding to that collective head scratching, given the fact that there is a report citing Cox Automotive research showing that Tesla's share of electric vehicles in the U.S. has fallen below 50% in the second quarter. They've lost ground to General Motors, Ford, Hyundai, and Kia, all of them actually gaining on them in terms of their EV sales, even as collectively there seems to be some steam lost.
Is it just me? Or is the financial news media attempting to promote fear, uncertainty, and doubt? This EV market share situation in the United States is not a bad thing for TSLA. Tesla needs this to occur in order to make sure that the US transitions to a sustainable energy economy.
How much of a hurdle do they have at a time where a lot of companies might have de-emphasized the EV, but are still gaining share and creating a buyer base?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for Tesla to go, below 50% is a pretty significant milestone. It's sort of been assumed that this company was not only, dominating the EV market, but going to continue to dominate it, sort of in perpetuity.
Who thinks that? Even the best internal combustion engine manufacturers capture at most 15%. There is no way that Tesla is going to capture the entire EV market share as we continue to go into 2030 and beyond. If Tesla can capture 20 to 25% of the overall market share by 2035, that's a win unlike anything you've seen in the automotive industry.
And I do think that you do hear from some people that this is maybe kind of part of the plan, this idea that the EV market is going to get more and more competitive, that Musk doesn't necessarily want to play that game, that he wants to sort of, take this great big leap. And I think that may be all well and good and be the sort of thing that you would expect of a disruptive company. But I think people underappreciate just how difficult it's going to be to get a car to where, you don't need any human behind the wheel. And I think we need to look no further than all of the money that Google has pumped into this effort for years and really done this in sort of, step-by-step fashion. Musk, as we know, is not one to really sort of be patient, work well with regulators. And this is an industry where, one accident, one collision with a pedestrian or with a vehicle that results in fatalities can lead to you no longer being able to operate on the roads that you've been on. And so we've seen that from Uber, we've seen that from Cruise, and I don't think necessarily that there's a reason to think that Musk is going to suddenly sort of change his ways and work better with the authorities who will give him the green light at least initially on the basis of the promise that this technology offers.
The real wild card in the group, if we get one more surge in the stock of the unsinkable Tesla, which has been up for 11 straight days. Now, these days, Tesla's being pitched as more of a technology company than an automaker. At $840 billion, they just need to demonstrate that Tesla Energy could become a much bigger piece of the business. We know that Tesla's vehicle sales are leveling off after a period of decline. We know their self-driving initiatives could be the biggest thing going. It's certainly what Elon Musk seems to believe in. He'll talk about it at the August 8th robo-taxi presentation. We also want to hear about what he's saying about China, because China is allowing robo-taxis in several of its cities. Now, it could end up being a gigantic market. This one's got a lot of momentum.
Tesla, $1 trillion company. Seems overdue. In conclusion, will Tesla turn green for a 12th straight day? I'm not looking for a 6 or 7% move, but I do expect it to be green. While many in the financial news media continue to be baffled by this move, I continue to load up on TSLA knowing that they have grossly underestimated this company. 9.5 gigawatts deployed in a quarter? I can't wait to see what that looks like on the balance sheet. On top of that, they've got FSD being deployed over there in China, FSD progressing at an incredible rate over here in the United States, an unveil of the robo-taxi and the maker knows what else on August 8th, while the media focuses on things like EV market share and relatively flat production and delivery numbers of Q2, they're going to miss the broader picture. I will not. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.